Hello and welcome back to AgBio Dialogues. I am Shu Jianzhang. I just came back from BioEx 2026 in Shanghai. And honestly, after all the talks, panel discussions, and conversations, there's one idea that really stayed with me. The challenge in biologicals today is not just innovation, it's translation. It's about how we take real science and turn into something that actually works in the field and fits into the farming systems and earn trust over time. So today I just want to share a few reflections and my learning from the meeting and how I'm thinking about where this industry is heading. The first thing that really stood out to me is this: innovation is not the bottleneck anymore. If you walk around BioEx, you will see a lot of exciting technologies: microbials, RNA, peptides, phages, synthetic biologies. It's all there. And honestly, the level of innovation is really impressive. But at the same time, you keep hearing a very consistent message. There is no shortage of ideas, but the scaling is still hard. And I think this is exactly where we are as industry. It's not about can we discover something new? It's more about can it move beyond the lab? Can it hold up in the greenhouse? More importantly, can the lab or greenhouse data translate into the real field conditions? And most importantly, will the farmers actually trust it enough to use it? So the gap between a real idea or great idea and a usable product, that is where a lot of things break down. Another thing I found is very interesting is how different companies approaching this biological space. There's no single model right now. Some are very focused on building technology platforms. Some are trying to integrating biologicals into existing crop protection systems. Others are exploring combination of biological plus chemical or different systemic level approaches. So the paths are different, but the direction is actually very clear. Biologicals are no longer side tools. They're becoming part of the main strategy. And that is a big shift, because the question is no longer does this work? It's becoming how we can make this work in a real system. Now, to be fair, there is real progress happening. You can see it clearly. Peptides show strong efficacy in the field. Of course, RNA is what I'm working on, expanding beyond insects into fungi and weeds. Phage moving closer to real field applications. Synthetic biology improve production, and multi-omics accelerate discovery. All of that is real and it's all exciting. But then you will come back to something very practical. If it's too expensive, it won't scale. Farmers are not adopting products because they're new. They're adopting products because they work reliably, fitting into their practice and make economic sense. So all of us working in innovation, this is a good reminder. A good product is not just scientifically strong, it's also to make sense in the real world. One area I think we still underestimate is what I call the hiding layer. Because discovery gets a lot of attention, but discovery is just the beginning. What really determines the success is everything that comes after: formulation, delivery, stability, shelf life, and compatibility with real farming practices. These are not always visible, but they are often deciding factors. This is where a lot of promising ideas either move forward or quietly fail. So in many cases, success is not about finding something new. It's about making something actually work outside the lab. Another thing that I keep thinking about is adoption is not only technical, it's also behavioral. I had a conversation with Mark Ingle at the meeting. He's the chairman of phages AgriHealth. And one thing he said really stayed with me during his talk. He said, farmers are not going to replace something that actually already works with something new unless they really trust it. And that makes total sense. Agriculture is risk sensitive. Decisions are shaped by experiences, by habit, and by trust. So adoption usually does not happen all at once. It happens gradually as a complement, or at least at the beginning, as something that improves over time. So that is something important. Technology alone is not enough. Trust matters as much, and the trust do not build over time. It comes from field performance or local validation and people talking to each other, advisors, retailers, and among farmers. That is how adoption really happens. On the regulatory side, I would say things are moving in a positive direction. It's still evolving. Different regions are moving at a different speeds. And for new technologies like RNA, peptides, and phages, they're definitely still a learning curve. But overall, there's more clarity than before. And what is becoming clear is regulatory success is not just about efficacy. It's about product positioning, data quality, manufacturing, and early engagement with regulatory agencies. So it's not easy, but it's becoming more structured. That is a good sign for the industry. If I step back and try to summarize everything from the meeting, one idea really stands out. The real bottleneck is not discovery, it's connection. All the challenges we're talking about, cost, formulation, field performance, adoption, regulation, they are all connected. And biological products only succeed when the whole systems work together, from discovery to product, to field performance, to farmer trust, to adoption. That is where the real challenge is, also where the opportunity is. So overall, BioEx 2026 felt like a turning point, at least to me. Biologicals are no longer on the sidelines. They are part of the main conversation now. That also means we need to think differently, not just about discovery, about real-world use or real-world application. How do we design for field conditions? How do we make adoptions easy for the farmers? How do we connect science, regulation, and application? Because in the field, the future of biologicals will not be defined by one breakthrough. It will be defined by how well we make everything works together. And honestly, that is make the moment interesting. We're not just creating new ideas anymore. We are figuring out how to make them real. Thanks for watching or listening to AgBio Dialogues. If this resonates with you, feel free to share it with someone in the space. I'm curious about what do you think is the biggest gap between innovation and real-world adoption in the biological sector. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you. Bye-bye.